When it comes to the Q&A at the end,
Yeah.
if you could repeat the person's
Question. Yeah,
just
that's
so
fine.
they can hear it online. And then, I guess I'll say Bernard. I don't know if I know Bernard, or maybe I do when I see his face.
You probably will. You probably will.
So, okay.
Bernard and Hildegard?
That does sound more familiar. I'm sure once I
So,
see him, I'll know.
I was going to say they're South African, but that's not going to help you, is it? Right. And the videos will come on both screens at the same time, will it?
Yes, except for the effing one, where everyone in the room will only see Alice.
Right.
But the slides will show up here.
So that will be what's going out on YouTube.
Yes.
And that will be just the slides.
Yes. Because the camera won't show up.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So I'll get what everyone sees. Good. Winch more, winch more. Winch more, winch more. Questions. Joe is sorted. Hello. My script. I think so. I'm just working them out myself. Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Restore Community Church and the Restore Community Annual General Meeting. I was going to say live stream. So long ago since I was on YouTube. So welcome, everyone, to the Restore Annual General Meeting. If you don't know who I am, you're probably tuning into the wrong thing. My name's Ian King. I have the privilege of leading Restore overall, and I'm the senior leader of Restore. That's why I'm looking grey these days. So for the next probably 90 minutes at max, we're going to work through a number of things. We like to call our annual general meeting, we actually like to rename it and call it an annual gratitude meeting, because actually it's an opportunity to celebrate everything that God has done. And we're primarily looking back to 2024, but I was just thinking today, you know, we have so much to be grateful for. We had a team planning day yesterday looking towards 2026, and I was just sitting around the table thinking what an amazing team God has given us as a Restore. And so many great stories and encouragements across the board. And you'll have an opportunity to hear some of that news tonight. And so the way we're going to do it is we're going to kick off with some feedback from each of our Restore congregations. Then we're going to get some feedback from Beyond Ourselves, which is part of our Restore Community charity. Then we're going to get a financial update, which is always the most exciting bit. So hold your breath for that one. Then we'll get a few organisational updates, and there'll be an opportunity for questions as well. And you can start sending in your questions even now if you would like. So we've got people live in the room. They have an opportunity to ask questions live. If you're watching online, you can email questions@restorecc.org.uk, and we will seek to answer your questions. If you're watching it on catch-up, then you can still email questions@restorecc.org.uk, and we will get back to you. But it also means we'll have a bit of time to have thought of the answer, which is probably helpful. So you hopefully know that Restore is one church currently meeting in 5 different congregations. We've got our Albany congregation, we've got our Epping congregation, we've got Loughton, we've got Winchmore Hill, and we've got Woodford. If we put up the next slide, so that's where they are on the map, if you didn't know the map of your locality. The next slide has got who is leading each of those congregations. So Jew in Albany, leadership team in Epping. Malcolm Pearce took over leading Loughton about a year ago. Winchmore Hill has a team that Hayley Harding coordinates. And then Simon has been with us just over a year at Woodford. How time flies. The responsibility of each of our congregation leaders are to lead a local team on mission into their area. Is to contextualize the vision of Restore. Our vision is drawn from Isaiah 61, and so same as the vision of Jesus, so that's helpful, I think. And so our aim is to contextualize that into every community that we work into. And our aim is also to equip everyone that's a part of a congregation to help them discover their gifts, to be mobilized on mission, and also to take care of one another. So if you didn't know what your congregation leader was meant to be doing, that's what they're meant to be doing. And any questions about that, email them to questions@restorecc.org.uk. Now, tonight, a few of our congregation leaders aren't able to join us for various reasons. The first of those is Jew from Albany. It's Jew's 10th wedding anniversary. And so Jew and Lloyd have gone back to where they went on honeymoon, which is Cannes, which is a nice gig if you can get it. But it meant that Jew wasn't available to be here tonight. And because we're such a compassionate organisation, we were willing to release her to celebrate her wedding anniversary well. However, she did have the opportunity to meet with Robert Anderson and make a little video. So over to Jew at Albany.
Welcome to Restore Albany. If you haven't been to see us before, we are based on the Hertford Road in Enfield in EN3. We're on a really busy high street. It is really diverse. We have lots of different local people from different countries, backgrounds, faiths, languages, all going on. I lead here with an amazing team of Ian Sawyer, Sandra West and Alan Goldring, but we couldn't do any of what we do without a fantastic congregation who serve really faithfully, and I'm really grateful to them. Anyway, come on in. Over the last year, we've seen our outreach grow and our relationships deepen with people in the local community. Many of the people that come along during the week have become volunteers themselves, and we've really loved getting to know them better as they've started to join us on Sunday mornings too. On a Monday, we're open for cafe, where we just welcome people for a tea or a coffee and a chat. But we also have in the past run Alpha during those times, and we currently run a Bible study group each Monday for anyone who would like to join on the day. We've also in the last year had the opportunity to host men's breakfasts, and that's been a time when the men have come together to talk about issues for them, for their faith, and how to be godly men in the different aspects of their lives and the different relationships that they have. We have an increasing number of families coming to our Grow Baby resource on a Monday. We have all sorts of things that are donated, be it clothes, sleeping bags, nappies, bottles, anything that you can imagine a young family may need. We're really fortunate to be able to then give those out as people come through the door on a Monday asking for help. The great thing is we then have the opportunity to pray with them, and many of those mums come along to other activities that we run, so we get to see them again and watch their little ones grow over time. Debbie is our children's worker, and she does an amazing job at welcoming families into this building. In particular, she has worked really hard to create a nurturing environment for our Busy Little Bees community. That's a place where we open for children with additional needs, and it's been beautiful to watch that grow and to see the relationships develop where children with additional needs can come and engage with activities in whatever way suits them. We've also seen mums who perhaps previously have avoided toddler groups altogether, feeling confident to come, feeling confident that their little one will be accepted and cared for, and to watch those relationships develop has been really special. Rainbow Club and Messy Church continue, and that's again just our regular opportunities to connect and share the gospel with local families. We've also continued to build our relationships with Ark John Keats, our local school. They have come to us for Christmas, we have gone to them for Easter, and in between times we've had the whole of year 2 over here to be part of their RE curriculum for the year, where they asked us to do an afternoon based on how God speaks to people. So we had a great time studying the story of Moses together. Lastly, on our children's work is our holiday clubs. We are fortunate that Enfield Council continue to fund our holiday clubs in the summer, at Christmas and at Easter. And it's just a great connection point to be able to feed children in the school holidays, but to be able to create a safe and welcoming space where parents are confident to leave them and know that they will be well loved. This year it was amazing as well to receive funding from the Enfield Community Support Fund. Basically it meant the council entrusted us with an amount of money, over £13,000, to share with local people who were eligible and in need. It meant that we could offer food vouchers, make payments onto people's energy bills, and just offer that emergency funding where there was need. It was such a privilege to be able to do it, and we could invite people into the church. They could have a cup of tea, they could chat with somebody who cared, and we could try and meet some immediate need. It also meant we could signpost people to places like the Enfield Debt Centre and Christians Against Poverty, the CAP organisation. We were really fortunate to be able to do that, and the council have amazingly given us the opportunity to do it again as the year continues. So we have received equivalent funding again to continue to reach the people in this area. In September, we had our annual Community Fun Day, and it's a chance to invite all of the people that we know from our activities during the week onto the site to be together. And alongside the barbecue and the crafts and the games, we had a prayer room where we could spend time listening and praying for people. And we had story times throughout the day where we could share how much we love them, but how much God loves them. And then just 2 weeks ago, we had our Celebrate the Nations service. It seemed a particularly pertinent time to be celebrating God's love for the nations. We had flags up of all sorts of countries and enjoyed the different languages and backgrounds that are represented here in Enfield. God's love is for everyone, and we want to promote that we welcome everyone and that we believe in social inclusion and all that we can do as followers of Jesus to welcome people into his love. One of the areas we have struggled with over recent years here at Albany is not having anyone to lead our live worship. So I just wanted to take the opportunity tonight to thank Peter Lewis in particular from the Loughton congregation, who has come over to help us with that, and also to Victoria, who has now committed to doing 2 Sundays a month with us here. We are really looking forward to having live worship in our services regularly, and we're really grateful for that. So to finish, my highlight of 2025 has to be, of course, opening up the baptistry again. We were able to baptise Debbie and Bill earlier this year, and it was such a moment of joy to celebrate with their friends and their family as they made that declaration of faith. They'd both had very different journeys up to that point, but it was wonderful to see them both committing their life to Jesus. So that's all from Albany and this year's AGM. I'm going to hand back to the studio, and I hope to see you all soon in person. Thanks ever so much.
That's a great video from Dew, isn't it? But actually, Restore Albany are doing a fantastic work in what is a neighbourhood with lots of need. And they're fantastic at serving the local community and doing such a brilliant, brilliant job. Next, we're going to get feedback from Restore Epping. If you don't know the background to Restore Epping is a different form of church because it's a home-based church. And they do the most amazing outreach. But because it's a home-based church, they don't run church with a model that somebody stands at the front. So when it got to the opportunity to share back at the AGM, they all went shy on us. And so they produced a set of slides, and they produced a video commentary to it. So here's all the things that have been happening at Restore Epping. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm Alice Carter, one of the leadership team for the Epping location. The Epping location includes Thaden Boys and the surrounding areas. We're a home-based church with an emphasis on relationships. We want to develop our relationship with God, with each other, and with our local communities. We usually meet in one of the homes of the leadership team. Myself and Tim and Ali Dolan live in Epping, and Jane and Duncan Gould live in Thaden Boys. During the week, we meet together in several ways and in different ways and with a different emphasis. We usually meet on Mondays, Thursdays, and at the weekend, predominantly on Sundays. 2 of our regular meetings are focused on developing our relationship with God. On Mondays, our young adults meet. This group has expanded so much this year that it's a bit of a squash, but I think they like it that way. They discuss life and faith. They laugh loudly and often. They read the Bible, play games, eat biscuits, and pray together. This group is overseen by Tim and Duncan, who say they learn as much as they teach. On Thursdays, a slightly, and I mean slightly, more sedate group meets. We start with some dessert and have a time of fellowship, followed by a time to thank God for what's been happening. We continue with a reflection or a worship song. We then have a time of reading and learning from a passage in the Bible. We focus on the teachings of Jesus, as whether a long-time believer, new Christian, or an interested seeker, there's something there for everyone. During the month of May, our Monday and Thursday meetings merged, as we did a 5-week Alive course. We led it Alpha style by inviting non-Christian friends and family to join us. And we had a meal, there was a video teaching, and then some small group discussion time. This allowed for us all to be together. Most people came every week, and several of our guests have continued to join us regularly on either a Monday or Thursday since. Our weekend gatherings are predominantly an opportunity to develop our friendships with each other, our friendships and relationships with each other. They're times to invite family and friends to join us as well. Usually the first Sunday of the month is a cooked breakfast. After filling up with bacon and eggs, we often watch some teaching from Right Now Media. We always offer people the chance to come to either both parts or to one or the other part of the morning. This year, some of our other events have been barbecues, picnics, and an afternoon tea. We had a garden party, which included live music. We had a takeaway night, a pizza and pasta evening, a soup lunch. We enjoyed a Sunday, and we had several board games afternoons. We also plan outings together. We went to the Swains Green Mayfair. We visited the Lee Valley and the Harlow Garden Centre cafes. And recently we went to the Apple Day at Copt Hall. This year we've continued to develop our relationships with our local community. We are part of CTED, which is Churches Together in Eppingham District, and during Lent, several churches organised Lent lunches, which are a chance to build connections with other local Christians and to raise money for charities. On Good Friday, we participated in the CTED Walk of Witness, bringing those in the High Street a message of God's love for them as we sang, prayed, and handed out chocolate eggs. On Pentecost Sunday, we joined the CTED Pentecost picnic in Stonnard's Hill, and then that was another opportunity to get to know other local Christians. At the end of the summer term, CTED organised for each child leaving an Epping primary school to be given a Scripture Union booklet about moving to senior school. Some of our group were able to be part of this giveaway. In the lead up to Christmas, we joined other local community and church groups in decorating St John's Church for the Christmas Tree Festival. And of course, this was another opportunity for some snacks and drinks together. We also supported the local Rotary Club in Epping as Father Christmas made one of his pre-Christmas visits in North Weald, helping to collect money for local charities. Over the last couple of years, we have sought to show kindness and welcome to those seeking asylum. At Christmas time, we organised a food and film night and gave away a bag of gifts to about 30 men. They said it was a really happy day for them. One of the things about Epping that many of you will be aware of are the protests that have taken place in Epping, and particularly around the Bell Hotel. We have continued to offer a hand of friendship and joined with other local Christians in Epping and Loughton to pray for peace. We collected men's clothing, gave them some gifts and treats as a sign of compassion, and donated games and cards to help them be entertained at a time when they felt unable to leave the hotel. We are aware of a change that these tensions have brought to the people of Epping. We hope you will join us in seeking peace for our local community. We will be continuing to pray for guidance and for inspired ideas as we build our relationship with God, with each other, and with our local community.
I have to say, over the last year or so, I've travelled around to different places in the UK, and there's a number of churches that have been experimenting with home-based congregations, and with the emphasis on relationship and reaching out to their community. In all the places I've visited, I haven't found anybody doing it anywhere near as well as our Restore Epping congregation are doing it. And that's a testament to the work of Alice and Tim and Ali and Duncan and Jane in leading it, because they're sold out for Jesus. And they're rock solid in their commitment. And I've been along, I haven't been to that many of their meetings, but I've been along to some of their Thursday nights, and I've been amazed at the growth that I've seen in the folk that they're discipling. And some of those are people that wouldn't say they've necessarily given their life to Jesus yet, but by meeting with them every week, opening the Bible, being loved in community, they've seen phenomenal growth and transformation in people. And a number of folk over the last few months have been saying, are we doing anything about supporting Epping and the residents of Epping? They've done loads, and Alice shared some of that stuff. They've also delivered gifts and flowers to all the local residents around the Bell Hotel, and have been involved in all the community groups that are seeking to make Epping a welcoming place for everyone, and also a place that some members of the community bridge the potential divide that is there. So really, really want to celebrate everything that the team are doing in Epping, because it's really fantastic. This is the point where normally I would let Malcolm loose on you. However, you might know that Malcolm damaged his knee playing football about 6 months ago, and so he's been awaiting a knee operation. The wait time was 55 weeks, but a cancellation came up, which means that just this afternoon, Malcolm has had his knee operated on. And the operation was a bit later than planned, but it's all gone really well. Malcolm's recovering. He's going to be in hospital overnight, but he'll be released in the morning. We did think about doing a live link to his hospital bed, but it is Malcolm. So we decided it was probably much safer to get a pre-recorded video. So Malcolm, before he went into hospital, shot a video for us, and look out for his brand new haircut as well.
Well, good evening, everyone. Sorry I can't be with you tonight, but technology just gets better and better. And so I'm excited to be coming to you from a little circle in the corner of the screen. As we start heading towards the end of 2025, I want to share a few of the incredible ways God's been moving and what he's been doing in and through us at Restore Loughton. So some of the key features of this past year, we're so thankful for the ways that we've been reminded about God's generosity this year, and the way we've been learning how to become more like him at Loughton. I want to add my own personal thanks to all those who've poured into the life of Restore and Restore Loughton with their generosity of time and energy and finance this year. It's been an incredible year of growth in so many ways. Prayer has also been a key feature of our activity in Loughton, and as it should be, we're committed to continuing to find places and spaces where we can gather together. The prayer series has helped in focusing our efforts, and we meet regularly every Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning. Saturday mornings have started recently, where we've been meeting at 8 till 9 a.m. We have our churches together in Loughton unity prayer gatherings that have happened regularly throughout the year, and the 24/7 prayer room in January and September has also been a real highlight of the year. Baptisms have also been a key feature of the year gone by, and we've had 18 baptisms so far. Many of the new believers committed their lives to Christ this year, which has been so exciting to see, and we're looking forward to many more to come. Another key priority and development at Loughton has been our connection points, ensuring that we encourage as many of us as possible to share life together and walk the journey together outside of Sunday mornings. Here you'll see some of the key ways we've been able to develop some of these connection points over the last few months, and I want to particularly thank some of the people highlighted here for their dedication to ensuring that there's lots of opportunities to connect together throughout the week. Many of these activities are really thriving, and we encourage all of our Loughton members to come and join in wherever they can. One of the big successes of the year so far has been the relaunching of Alpha in Loughton. We're midway through our third Alpha of the year. And sadly, many of our Alpha team are not able to be here tonight as they're leading tonight's session at Oakwood Hill. In many ways, the success of Alpha in Loughton is a reflection really of the success of Alpha across the world this year. They're reporting that they've had the most successful year ever, and we're praying that we continue to see much fruit from this current crop that are having their sessions right now as we speak. As you've probably already seen, we've been developing a growing team at Loughton, and over the past few months, I want to just take a moment to mention Hester and the Botha family. Hester did an incredible job in taking us into relationship with the community through Noah's Ark, through Holiday Club, through TLG, and just being part of the team, the Restore team. We do miss her lots, but we're so pleased to see her and the family settling so well in Guernsey. We've got a number of key operational teams and ministries across the Restore Loughton family, and we encourage everyone to serve in some way where they can as part of the body. I particularly want to highlight the contribution to the leadership team made by Imi. Imi got married and moved away, so naturally stepped down from the leadership team, and it was so good to have her energy and her vibrancy as part of the team, and we're glad they've settled into married life and enjoying the next chapter. Another notable thing to mention is Friday Women's Group, which started this year, headed up by Rachel and the team, and has had such an incredible impact on so many people who've been part of that. And so as I finish, just to say, we are so grateful to God for all he's been showing us, all he's been revealing to us over this past year. Some of the things that he's doing, watching the youth, the rising generations take their place, being part of the stirring of this quiet revival that's taking place across our land. And we pray that it becomes a roaring revival. Thanks everyone. Have a great night.
So I mentioned earlier, but Malcolm took over leading the Loughton congregation in his own right from this January and has been doing an absolutely fantastic job and seeing a lot of fruits off the back of that as well. So, so we're sending love to you tonight, Malcolm, and we look forward to having a healed Malcolm with 2 operational knees soon. Next, we've got somebody live. So I know, can barely contain the excitement in the room. So next, we're heading over to Winchmore Hill, and this is Hayley's favourite job of the whole year. So welcome, Hayley Harding.
Good evening, family. It's good to be in the room, although Cairns does sound nice. Yes, so I thought we'd start with our presentation at the end of last year's, actually. So the last slide from our presentation last year showed some of our points for prayer. Oh, 202 and 4. So we had 2 things on the slide there for the prayer slide, which was our leadership team meeting, So on our leadership team is myself, it's Chris, it's Pete and Michelle Goldring, and it's Chris Mile. And I want to thank you for your prayers. It's been an interesting year. It's been challenging in all sorts of ways. People's jobs have been under challenge. People's health has been under challenge. And so we've really appreciated prayer because we're still all sat around the table together and still having a laugh around the table, as well as leaning into what's happening at Winchmore Hill. So thank you for your prayers on that. We were also asking for prayers on spaces. So you might remember from the PowerPoint last year that we were actually meeting in lots of different locations. We had a rota of different ways in which we were meeting. If you go to the next slide, Dustin. So we had meeting in the park for the first week. We had our second Sunday at Winchmore School. We met on the third week for brunch. That was always quite a popular one. For the fourth Sunday, we would meet in Albany in the evening for worship. And then on the occasional fifth Sunday that there would be, we would be active in our community and doing various things. There was gardening and all sorts of things happening. So we didn't have a particular, we've not had our own location. And we didn't have any storage after so we had the shack, and that was being loaned to Pathways, which is a local group that works with schools. So we had no building and no storage, which was a bit of a challenge. But despite that, we finished the year really well. We had our most successful Christmas service yet at Winchmore School. We had over 65 people attending, and from all our different community connections. We had a silent disco at the end of it for our Night to Shine families. DJ Santa Kalechi was there as well, which was good. So it was a fantastic evening. So it was a bit of a surprise and a shock then when literally 2 days later we heard from Winchmore School, which has been one of the locations that we've really been leaning into over the last few years, to say that it was no longer available for any hire in 2025 due to their very busy schedule. So at the end of the year, after quite a high from the Christmas service that we'd had, we had even less venues than what we started with, and still no storage. But God was doing something new and surprising. We didn't see it coming. So in February, we actually started meeting at Keeble School. And we've been meeting there every week. And we've managed to hire a 35 square foot storage room at Big and Red, all for the same price as meeting at Winchmore School once a month. So that was a real answer to prayer. And we've been meeting every week. We are quite conscious about trying to learn the lessons that God has been teaching us over these years of literally being on the road. We've been learning to keep it simple. So our setup is purposefully minimal, keeping teams simple, really cultivating a culture of getting everyone involved. So we have communion every week, and different people from the congregation lead that. We've also had to try new things and be prepared to get out of a building and be in our homes. And so we wanted to really keep those lessons with us as we've been meeting every week. So there they are. Look at them, lovely faces. But you might notice that something's missing. There's a question mark there. Yeah, there's something missing. You might be able to tell, but we don't have any families at the minute. We don't have any young kids at Winchmore at the moment, which pains us, because actually where we've come from, we've been very busy in the community with lots of events and holiday clubs and what have you. So a bit of an invitation, a bit of a plug. I feel like Ju would have done this, wouldn't she? A bit of a plug that to families, particularly maybe from Loughton, where there's perhaps lots of resources and things going on. But to our families, what does it feel like to be a family on mission? I'll talk about Night to Shine in a minute, but one of the things that Ju said about Night to Shine, when they would come and help volunteer, so that was Ju and Lloyd and Martha came together as a family to volunteer for Night to Shine. And she would often say it was one of her favourite time of years, not because it's Night to Shine, although that is a great event and it is wonderful, but because they were able to do something together as a family, without somebody having to lead it, but they could just be there as a family on mission. So that's our invitation. That's our thought that we want to just put out there, really, that perhaps we're wanting to encourage our kids in their discipleship, and our Sunday stuff is fantastic. But there's nothing quite like going on mission as a family to a location and to be leaning in as a family to help the work there, to encourage families, to teach our kids how to be vulnerable enough and available enough to make friends with people you don't know so that they might get to know Jesus. So that's a little shameless plug there. You might want to think about that. And if God is stirring you in that, then please speak to somebody about that. So we've also have our small groups at Winchmore Hill, and those are, I think, mostly unchanged from last year. We have an online group that's very popular on a Monday night, a Wednesday night group. John and Vicky are amazing. Many of you will know them. They host a Wednesday online group, and then once a month they do a daytime group at Jenny. Jenny is our matriarch. She's 93, and she hosts that group. And that's partly about making fellowship accessible to everybody. Then there's a Thursday meal and communion that Jodie's running. And then we have our Friday night dinner, which is a young adults group that happens at our house. And there's a picture of that that's going to come up in a moment, just our cheeky guys. So, yes, we meet for dinner and for conversation. And we also went into Epping Forest for one of the scout locations there. We didn't set a fire just in the middle of Epping Forest, I want to say. It was a scout location. But we meet for dinner and for conversation. And it's not a Bible study. It's not that these are young people that are, for many of them, have been connected with church in their upbringing, but are not at church, and therefore that's not what's helping them to lean in, but actually to come around the table together with food and to talk about how life works. And Chris and I get to share how we think life works. And we have some really great conversations. So yeah, that's small groups. And then community-wise, we'll start with Night to Shine. So where we're at with Night to Shine, many of you will have heard us talk about this before. We're busy raising money for the next event. And good news is we've raised some money, which is really great. And the pictures there are from our second Thames walk, which is 100 kilometres, which I didn't do. Not all of it anyway, but there are people in the room that did. So we've raised some money. We had a great quiz night as well. I think a number of you were there for that. So our next challenge is location now, because at the end of the year, we could no longer use our usual venue, but we're on it. And we get regular messages from our Night to Shiners saying, when's the next thing happening? So, the community is there, and we're making our way forwards with getting the next event on the road. So look out for your emails, all those that have volunteered in the past, and there's a few of you in the room, because we'll be looking to do that, hopefully, at the beginning of the year in February, when Night to Shine happens across the world, and we'll be able to do it at the same time. And then I think lastly, one of our other community groups is More Than a Song. So this just keeps growing, and we have our concerts in the summer and at Christmas time, and they just keep getting better and better. We genuinely think we're on our way to Glastonbury, it's a great community. One of the most fantastic things about being with this group of people is they make you feel young, not just because of the age difference, although that's some of it, but they are incredibly young at heart. And their life and vitality is just infectious. So I want to celebrate them as well. So to finish then with where we're at with Winchmore Hill. Oh yeah, the Christmas concert on the 8th of December. Honestly, it's the way to start Christmas. So if you want to have a feel-good evening, come and join us. We've got one of... You're going to be super pleased, Simon, because we're starting the concert with Underneath the Christmas Tree. Oh. I know, which Simon loves Christmas trees. So just to finish then with our prayer points going forward then, I've included our team again because, we need prayer. And we felt held in prayer over the year, and we know that that's going to be the same again for this year. And also for the rest of the congregation, we've seen a number of people come back to regular Sunday worship that we haven't seen since COVID. So that's been really encouraging. So we're a small group, so please pray for us in terms of how we reach out to our friends and our neighbours and those around us. And then spaces, still on our prayer list. Just to throw out there's just a bit of an interesting development at the moment in terms of Winchmore Hill Library. The council recently has closed about 7 or 8 libraries in the borough, and which is a shame, but perhaps an opportunity for some of those spaces to be continued to be open to community. So at Winchmore Hill Library, obviously you had the books there, but you had a lot of community groups meeting there, and that's something that we can help facilitate. And so we're just leaning into that at the minute and just seeing if this is a door that God is about to open. It might be, it might not, but that's one of the things we're praying for. So thank you very much. That's Winchmore Hill. Do come and visit us on a Sunday. We're a friendly bunch. Yeah, you'll have a good time. There it is.
Thank you, Hayley. I would say the team at Winchmore are doing an amazing job, because it's not easy having to reposition yourself when venues change and kind of you're in transition. And it's felt over this last season like they're in transition, and just hearing what God is saying and reshaping things and leaning into that is a challenge, and they've handled it fantastically. So well done, guys. I go probably about once a month, and every time I go there, you can feel the Holy Spirit at work in the room, and we know that God is brooding and ready to birth something. And the question is exactly what that looks like for this next season. We find it easy to get excited about new things, but the library does seem like an amazing thing to be praying over. So I'd encourage that. And also, seriously, it will be great to be a family on mission and help serve somewhere. You could just go once a month and go and help. That would be amazing. If you email questions@restorecc.org.uk, you can send it in and say, when can I start? And we'll give you an answer. But it really, really would be a brilliant thing to be part of a replanting of a congregation in this next season. It'd be an amazing thing to do. So I'm going to hand over now to Simon to give us the 1-year update on what it's like working for Restore and how Woodford's going.
Thank you so much. It's fantastic to be here 1 year on, and genuinely to take time to reflect on all that God has done, which has been incredible over the space of this last year. But as Ian mentioned a bit earlier, I can't do it without gratitude coming straight from my heart for what has happened in the space of the last year and the people that have helped to make the year that it is. So, my very first slide really does go to gratitude first and foremost to my senior leadership team who have been instrumental in not only continuing to pastor the flock of Woodford so well, but also keeping me in check. And in those moments as well where I get high and lofty and super assemblies of God, they're saying, come on, let's bring it back into Restore. But they have been phenomenal. I can't thank Amy and Jason and Ulrika, and the new addition this year was Matt Chow joining our team at the beginning of the year. They have just been phenomenal in serving me, in bringing ideas to the table, and we get the opportunity to meet on a monthly basis. We go out for meals like we did with that picture for my birthday just recently. But I am grateful for their wisdom. I'm grateful for everything that they bring, and it's been phenomenal to be able to work alongside them this last week. On top of that as well, we've had the privilege of building a strategic team, which stemmed from November of this year when we were working alongside Tim and Emily Rowlands for the New Things strategy, looking towards building discipleship within the church. And so I want to extend my thanks as well to these guys who we meet on a bi-monthly basis to check in on the progress that we've been able to make through that. So that's included Matt and Heidi Chow, Jason and Amy, Ulrika, Lawrence, Keely Pedro, Stephen and Ali Hale, and Jamie Adoki as well. And the importance of the multitude of different generations being part of that and different walks of life has been something that's been really important to me to embed into that team for the sake that we really get all aspects of kids to youth, to adults, really covered across those bases. And stemming from that has been some incredible highlights that has really helped and assisted the progress here at Woodford. We've really felt that this year, through what Tobias and Joyce were able to implement and put in place as a strong foundation of relationship and pastoral care and intimacy between one another, was a really solid foundation for us to get prepared for stepping out into our community. And it was what was evident to me sort of from the moment of taking on board the role was that actually when you started to get to know some of your neighbours, not many people knew that we actually ran services here. And so the importance to change that mindset and to make that evident to people was going to be an opening step. And so we've changed various bits of signage outside the front of the building, but we've been preparing things in the house as well, almost sort of preparing the ground in order for when the seed is sown and it's watered, that we start to see some real incredible growth. So my next actual slide is a real level of thanks to the team setting up our kitchen, because one of the things that we really want to implement and build here is opportunities, because we love food. And we love having community that's surrounded about food. We needed to get our kitchen upgraded. We needed to ensure that it was up to the health and safety standards, and also, deal with Steve's hatred towards the mustard walls as well. So we thought that was imperative that we got that sorted. And so really a massive heart thanks to the people that are up there on the screen. Ali, who was our admin support, was a major part of ensuring that happened well. Bringing a couple of young gentlemen over from the Bell Hotel to support on that, which we just were so incredibly grateful for, which was happening right in the middle of the protests as well. And so to see them continuing to be generous of their time, continuing to impart what gifts they had into our house, was an incredible heart-softening moment for me. So I really want to pass my thanks to Ali, to Habib. Rob Anderson from Loughton was also instrumental. My father, thank you to my dad, thank you to my mum. It feels like an awards ceremony here this evening. And also to Joe Mackey, who has also been helping keep me in budget and on time with the project as well. It got done, and we're really, really pleased with the results. But with the next slide that we've got coming up is then sort of being able to bin the foundations to build upon what we did with New Thing. And so as a team, we saw some real incredible highlights throughout the year. Some of them which came about was our community fireworks, which I always held annually at my previous place of living in Snaresbrook. We had a number of the Woodford community come out, and around 60 to 70 people came and enjoyed the fireworks that evening. Jason has been doing a phenomenal job with the Sunday evening table tennis, which happens here. We get it up to at least 16 people from time to time, which has been phenomenal. And that's just with 2 tables. So we might need to expand next year, eh? So that's been really encouraging. We've always enjoyed our monthly Bring and Share meals, which happens on the first Sunday of every month. And that has always been a wonderful tool of evangelism for our church members, and particularly bringing family, bringing friends into a really easy, a non-threatening environment in which friendship can be built, and that reality that, hey, Christians are okay to hang out with. We're not strange, and it's brilliant to have that multitude of different cultures that are sharing food in that. Easter time was a phenomenal time. We had the real privilege of welcoming from Jews for Jesus, Ziggy Rogoff, who came to lead a Passover meal for us. And so we transformed this hall into long tables in order that we could celebrate Passover together. And that was a brilliant time, again, where we had people from the community, neighbours, as well as friends and family as part of that. It was such a success when Emily and Malcolm joined us that we've booked him again for this coming year. So Good Friday of 2026, we will be opening that up to Restore Wide. We're just got to find a location that's going to fit everybody now, which is a really lovely problem to have. So we enjoyed that. And then the following week, week after Easter, we had the floor open for our youth and our kids to run the service. And we were delighted when they showed such eagerness and desire to write their own script and think about their own props and different costumes and so forth. And I think actually as parents, of the church, we were blown away by their investment, their hunger and their desire, that actually we had parents coming up saying, we must do this again. We must, put this on again, because it almost felt an injustice to only have the parents in the room and just a few extra visitors at that time. So this coming Christmas, we are putting on our Christmas production, The Real Reason, which my daughter's been involved in writing, and we're putting together at the moment. So we want to encourage you to come along to that on Sunday, the 21st of December. But our young people are so passionate about serving in this house and being part of what God is doing, very much part of the worship team, as well as helping and assisting in our kids services on Sunday, which has just been a real boost and encouragement to me. And we're looking at other ways in which we can help and develop their discipleship in 2026 as well. We had a joint youth event for them, which is called United Nights, in which we come together with churches from the Assemblies of God, Baptist churches, and so forth. That happened in March in Dagenham, and we're looking at building other further relationships with local churches to be able to do that. Christmas was also a phenomenal time, and our door-to-door community outreach was something that stemmed from our strategic planning. So we took the opportunity through that planning to think sensitively, but think of ways in which we could actually meet our neighbours face to face. And so we put a letter together. We took some real thought and effort into this letter, which would take a look at offering the local community, which is around 560 houses plus flats, an opportunity for them to share the community needs. We felt it was important to see what was on their heart for the community before we imposed our own. Yes, we can offer kids clubs. Yes, we can offer creches. Yes, we can offer tea and coffee mornings. But what are the needs which are on our streets? And we handed those letters out at the beginning of June. We gave the community a couple of weeks' time, and then we formulated a team of around 12 people that went out 2 by 2, and we knocked on the doors of the neighbours, and we had such a phenomenal response from the people. I would say literally only probably a handful of people said that they weren't interested in engaging with us, but everybody else was. And it opened opportunities for word of knowledge of God to be presented. We had opportunities to pray for healing, for people's shoulders, for people's cancer, in and through that time, which was just so instrumental in equipping our own church members to see that God wanted to move. Intrinsically. And so we're using that information now, which they have given to us. And I just want to thank Maria, who has joined us as an intern from Kenya, who's been able to formulate that data and put that together for us in terms of priority, which we'll be taking into our next meeting this November. So it's exciting times for 2026 as to how we're going to utilize that. Next slide, please, Dustin. Our main answers to prayer, baptisms, like many of the other leaders have been able to share. We had the privilege of being able to baptise a mum and daughter together, Marissa and Freya, earlier this year. And Jason and I had the privilege to baptise sisters, Jan and Sue, in Jan's home. We give thanks to God for Jan's life. She went to be with the Lord at the beginning of January 2025. But the peace of the Lord that rested upon her after that encounter that we had to be able to go to pray, to minister to her, but also ask her whether she wanted to be baptized. And in that space, just to be able to use some bowls of water and to baptize her, being by her bedside before she passed away, I knew that the peace of the Lord was upon her. And it was a real answer to prayer and a real significant highlight for us. We've had significant prayer and fast weeks across this year as well, at the beginning of the year, when we really felt the Lord was speaking to us about redigging the wells in this place. And so it was wonderful to have the staff as well as the congregation to head out into the streets to pray for the area, which I really felt created the groundwork that was necessary before we did the door-to-door. So that was significant. We launched our first small group this year as well, which happens on a Wednesday night between Steve and Ali's house and Emma and mine, just up the road. And so we enjoy a variety of worship, prayer, pastoral care, and unpacking the Word together, currently looking through John Mark Comer's series on Sabbath, which has been really instrumental to us. So we're looking to grow that in 2026. We're currently working with 2 high schools at the moment in the local area. Woodbridge had a door came open for us through Christian Education Project. So I've been working very closely with Helen Mullis, who heads that up. So she was able to work with us, and that has helped me as well build relationship with the likes of All Saints Church, Woodford Baptist Church, and the Bridge as well, to implement and bring lessons to the kids during lunchtime on a Thursday afternoon, which Maria is now partnering with. And there's the potential of a 3rd school on the way. We just ask you to continue to pray as we are working very closely with West Hatch School. I didn't realise, but I knew the religious lead from West Hatch, from a church that we used to attend together in a bygone age. So we're looking forward to meeting up for a drink in the next couple of months to look at that possibility of, again, being able to work with the school there. The church is growing as well, off the back of a multitude of different things that we are working through here. And so where we were probably a core of a good 30 people, we've seen our numbers hit almost 50 just in the space of this year, which has just been phenomenal work of God. People coming literally off the streets just in the space of the last couple of months, desiring deliverance ministry and finding their home here in this community. So we find that we're really living up to the vision of what God is calling us here at Restore, and that has been such an encouragement. And relationships are being established among local churches and leaders. I meet with the pastors of the local Redbridge churches, which is building at the moment, to pray, to worship, to encourage one another. And I see it in the lives of our community here at Woodford, that we are a community that is signposting people to Jesus every step of the way, which is a massive encouragement. For me to finish, just some things that I would really appreciate your prayers for the future, which is in our next slide. We are looking at this exponential growth that we're experiencing in the house, but with that needs an exponential need for discipleship. And so we really are feeling that within 2026, the amount of babies that we are receiving within the church will need environments in order to do that, whether that's 1-to-1, 3-to-1, or in small group environments. So we would really appreciate your support with that as we are looking at the various different tools that we use for that. Community projects that we run here from the building, I've put there, that have a lasting godly impact. Again, it just comes back to that premise that we don't want to build anything that is of our own flesh. And regardless of the community needs that are out there, something that we've even just been discussing as staff recently, if it doesn't bring the gospel of Jesus Christ in some shape or form, we have to question everything that we're doing. And so we want to observe that when it comes to what it is that we do feel called to in this next season to do. So please be praying that as we're in those strategic meetings, we're looking at everything from that lens. We have an incredible Christmas lined up as well. Even before the 8th, we would love to invite you to our Christmas market that's happening on the 6th. So you can get all your Christmas goodies on the 6th and then go to the choir and munch down on them. What a brilliant idea. What a brilliant idea. And I know the week before, Loughton have got their market as well. So we're going to have a phenomenal season of welcoming our community into this building, building relationship with them. And so that's something to really, for prayer and investment into. That is me. Thank you so much, Ian.
Before you disappear, Simon, if ever you wondered what the perk is of being a Restore congregation leader, look. Makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it? A brand new hoodie. So, so it's been great having, let's give them a round of applause. It's been great welcoming Simon and Emma and family onto team, and what's been amazing is how seamless it has been and how amazing Simon has fitted into the team and been able to continue taking Woodford forward. So we're really grateful for you, Simon, and really grateful for the team at Woodford, which has been doing a great job. If you've been wondering about what I've been doing then, if all the congregations have been doing that stuff, one of my responsibilities is the wider stuff and the wider kind of church stuff. Simon mentioned about New Thing, which is an organisation that Tobias was a part of, that does training in terms of church planting and discipleship, leadership development. That organisation, New Thing, is now merged into another organisation called Exponential, and I'm part of the Exponential European team. One of the things just to flag is, I don't know if you understand, but the Restore story is very unusual. Pre-COVID, we had 2 congregations. We came out of COVID and prayed and asked God to grace us, plant another 3. And it's been amazing seeing the fruit that's come from that. And what we found as I've gone and engaged with church leaders in other places, lots of churches now are thinking about church planting because God is on the move in the UK and churches are growing. But actually they want help in how do we actually do this journey and take it forward. So I've been invited into a number of contexts just to share really the Restore story and talk about some of the pathways and some of the steps that we've been able to go through. And I've said wherever I've gone, we're not perfect, and we're learning as we go, and we made lots of mistakes along the way. But it is quite extraordinary, the growth that we've seen, both in terms of our own people, but also in terms of people coming to know Jesus and being added to the kingdom. And over this last year, I think I've been training churches in Moldova, in Berlin, in Birmingham, in Basildon, all the bees, and Frankfurt as well as other places, which has been a real privilege. But actually, it's one of the doors that God's opening for us as Restore to impact the wider world as well, which is a privilege and something we can celebrate as well. So I've been doing that under something called the Movement System as a part of Exponential Europe. And I've also been doing some stuff across Essex. There's a grouping of churches called Transforming Essex. And I've been part of the strategic team on that. And we've been meeting in all the high spots of Essex, places like Clacton and Southend. And just encouraging churches and supporting churches in terms of their impact into the local community. And Jodie and I did our first training into Essex churches in terms of steps towards multiplication and church planting. And there's going to be lots more of that happening in 2026. So that's all been really exciting. One of the questions that often we get asked around Restore is, what's the shape of the staff team? Because as we get bigger and grow, obviously the staff team changes over time. There's a slide that has got our staff team on it. It's quite a long way further through the slides. There we go. So this is our current shape as a Restore team. Not all of these staff are salaried and not all of them are full-time, in case you suddenly took a deep breath. We've got Jew at Albany, supported by Debbie, who does amazing community stuff as well as fancy dress, if you saw from the video. Loughton, there's Malcolm taking the lead. Kim works part-time running Noah's Ark. Andre works part-time doing Grow Garden. Amazing work happening at Grow Garden. And again, we had a group of asylum seekers from the Bell Hotel regularly coming over and serving in Grow Garden. Amazing. Pastoral stuff, Rachel Radmore's doing a day a week. And Emily Pierce volunteers into heading up the kids' work in Loughton. And Maureen Barnard is volunteering into heading up Alpha in Loughton as well, which is great. We've got Simon at Woodford. We've got Dustin doing our youth and tech. I'll give you an update on that in a moment. We've got Hayley at working part-time at Winchmore. We've got Joe Mackey, does an amazing job doing our back office stuff, our operations. Our dream has always been, if we can get a crack team doing our operations and nailing all the behind-the-scenes stuff, it releases the rest of us to be on mission for Jesus. And Joe has done an amazing job at getting that in order and running it really, really really smoothly. Jo loves to be thanked and in the spotlight, but she's at the back right now taking your questions. Jo is fantastic. So, and Simon mentioned we had Ali who worked with us for a period. He's now gone off actually helping other asylum seekers get settled in the UK, which is amazing. That's what his heart is really, really for. It was great to have him on team for a period, and Lauren Crook is now stepping into that role for the time being. And then we have our Beyond Ourselves staff, which is a UK team and also a Zambian team. We'll get an update on Beyond Ourselves in a minute. And we've got 3 amazing interns that have joined us this year. We're really privileged because 2 out of the 3 of our interns are actually pretty much trainee leaders. And so Maria has a lot of experience already in church leading, as does Victoria, who's living with us at the moment, and a real blessing to us. And then we've got Vika here from Germany. So if you get confused with your interns, have a go at saying Victoria, and you'll be right 2 out of 3 if you have a go at that. One thing to announce, and that is Dustin has been doing a great job covering our youth over this interim. He's been working part-time for us doing that. He's been working part-time at Lincoln Roads Chapel in Enfield, and Lincoln Road Chapel would like to take him on full-time. So he's transitioning into going full-time at Lincoln Road from next April, which is amazing. And what they're doing is they're apprenticing him towards leading that church. And he wants to stay closely related to us, which is great. He's running all the tech tonight. So big up to Dustin. Thank you so much. Really appreciate what you're doing, but it means that we need a replacement for the youth. So you might have known that we've been advertising for youth. We completed our interviewing on Monday, and we offered the job to Warren Keemist, who applied for it. Warren, you might know of old, Warren and Wren, and Warren said yes. And so we're going to be welcoming Warren into the Restore staff team in the next month or so. You get lots of opportunity to meet Warren and Wren. They're going to be great on team. And you may have met Warren and Wren because they came to Wildfires with us, which was another highlight of the year that we haven't even got feedback from. So the problem with these evenings is there's so much good news that we don't have enough time to share it all. One of the things we like to do as a church is to be generous. One of our values, we believe that God is incredibly generous. And as a church, we want to be able to express generosity to the wider world as well. We took up a generosity offering this year, and we decided to split it in half. And we decided that we would use half of it to be able to invest in our team and to grow the potential on the team. There's a slide that's got this on, I hope. Coming up right now. There you go. So the left-hand column is where we've spent the money so far in terms of developing team and strength. And so the training, we're paying towards Malcolm doing a theology degree with Westminster Theology College. And we've given gifts to Tenerife, which is part of the Restore family. We've been supporting, out of my Essex connections, we've been supporting a new church plant in Harlow. And so we've given some money towards that. And all of our staff team get coaching as well. And so we've been able to put money into that. If you move over to the right-hand side, the other 50%, our aim is to give it away, either to local needs or needs that we know as a Restore family. And if you have an area that you think would be good for us to invest in or give away to or be generous towards, if you email elders@restorecc.org.uk, we'll take those requests and think about supporting money there. I'll outline some of the gifts that we've given. We've primarily so far given those gifts to global mission, to world mission. And so there's various missionaries that we've supported as a church. And there on the left-hand side there, Suzanne Potter, who works for Latin Link in Guatemala, Shah Want, who's part of the wider team of Jackie Poninger working in Philippines, Paul and Alison Guinness, who are working in Burundi, which is the poorest nation in the world, Andy and Lynn Vaughan, who are heading up a project that's building homes on the Mexican border for folk who otherwise would be homeless, and Dan and Melissa Whitcomb, who've been doing an amazing job in Zambia with Beyond Ourselves. They're now working remotely for Beyond Ourselves back in Canada. And on the right-hand side are some of the external ministries we've given money away to so far on the generosity. fund because people have requested it. So someone requested the Rose Walton Centre, which is just down the road, works with kids with additional needs. Chase Family Church have done a great job teaching and inputting our interns. So we thought we would bless them for that. That's Chase Family Church in Enfield. Life Spring Church in Walsall, a member of Rachel Radmore's family is church planting in Walsall, and Rachel said, could we bless them as they church plant? And so we said, yes, we'd love to. Hope Church Harlow's the brand new church plant in Harlow. Love for folk to get involved where they can there. Tenerife Family Church do an amazing job in Tenerife with a lot of vulnerable people in the community there. And there's some old connections of Don Price, Oleg and Tanya, who are working in Ukraine. God's doing amazing things in Ukraine, and we've been able to give them a gift as well. We still have money, and we want you to be able to say where we give it away to. So if you have got something on your heart or some way that you think would be great for us to invest money, if you email elders@restorecc.org, .uk, that's right, I knew I hadn't finished it. If you email elders@restorecc.org.uk, you can put in your request and we'll evaluate it and pray over it and potentially be generous to people. One of the amazing success stories has been the work of Beyond Ourselves in Zambia. We have two charities that we run. We have Restore Community Church and a sister charity, exactly the same trustees, called Restore Community. And Beyond Ourselves and the work that they do in Zambia and now beyond all comes under that. And we couldn't do an annual general meeting without a report from them. So we've got a video from Jody and I think from Daniel in Zambia.
Greetings from Zambia. For those who don't know me, I'm Jodie Collins, and this is
Daniel Zulu.
We are the directors of Beyond Ourselves and Beyond Ourselves Zambia, and we wanted to bring you a brief update on all things Beyond Ourselves.
Yes.
For those, again, who don't know, Beyond Ourselves is a project of Restore Community, which is the sister charity to Restore Community Church. And we've been working here in Zambia for the past 16 years, and we are primarily focused on Zambia and the work here, but as you'll hear throughout this video, the work is beginning to expand to other places, which we're really excited about. And so our heart at Beyond Ourselves and kind of our vision is we long to inspire purpose, unlock opportunities, and live generously. And that runs through us as a team, our heart, but also the things we do, and primarily doing that through education and discipleship training and mentorship, which we'll hear a little bit more about now. And so our team is spread across a few different countries. We've got our international team spread across UK and Canada. We've got Beyond Ourselves Zambia, which is a separate legal entity registered here in Zambia. And we've got an amazing team here that has grown this year, and you'll hear about that too. And so we just want to take a moment to look back at 2024 and some of the highlights there, seeing as this is the AGM looking back at 2024, bring you some updates from 2025 and look ahead to 2026. And as we started to put our thoughts together, looking back at 2024, we couldn't believe how much has happened since then, but also in that year. Like, wow, was that only a year ago? And so there was so much, but we're just going to try and give you the highlights. So in our education development, permission was granted for us to roll out our Jolly Phonics training using our JPTG, our Jolly Phonics Teacher's Guide, and that was permission was granted by the government, by the Ministry of Education, to roll out this literacy training across the nation of Zambia. And that was a real cause for celebration then, and that's something we've begun to do over this year. We also got the opportunity in 2024 for some of our team to present at the Jolly Phonics UK conference, as well as the very first Pan-African Synthetic Phonics Summit. More exciting than it sounds, but Daniel did an incredible job presenting there. And as a kind of follow-on from that, an impact of that was that we then, towards the end of last year, got to work with a team in South Africa to create an adapted contextualized resource for them in South Africa, which was really exciting.
Yeah, Jodie, like you said, 2024 looks like a long way back. And just looking at dignity, or rather discipleship and mentorship, we did have 7 Dream Days and Dare Days, and we impacted nearly 200 boys and girls, just bringing them together and talking about purpose, their purpose, identity, and belonging. And yeah, it's amazing that we started with only 7 events, because now we've gone quite vast, as you will be hearing, in 2025. Also, 2024, we moved into new office premises, and as a result of that, we also saw an upgrade in our internet service, which has cut off the frustrations of communication between UK and Zambia. It's really been a huge blessing. And also, that's the year you went on sabbatical, Georgie.
I did.
It's amazing to stand this side of your sabbatical, but we're glad that you were able to go on sabbatical, because we've got Jody reloaded, and it's really been a huge, huge blessing.
And in the UK, we had in 2024 our key school partnerships, one of the main ways that we raise our funds and also inspire purpose and unlock opportunities and encourage people to live generously in the UK is through our UK school partnerships. We have St Paul's and Cranley School as 2 major partners, and between them they raised over £69,000 in 2024 for the work of Beyond Ourselves, which is just incredible. And we also added an additional school in 2024 called Kingswood down in Bath, and they'll be joining us for their first student trip in 2026. So, Daniel, do you want to bring us up to speed? That was 2024 in a whistle-stop tour.
Yeah.
How about 2025? What's been happening in 2025?
Yeah, 2025 equally has been a big year for us. I cannot believe that all this has happened just in this year. So to start with the national rollout approval from the Ministry of Education, we packed our bags and we started off with Central Province just to take Jollyphonics, and it's been a thrilling experience. We moved on to Ruapula, and recently we completed a training in Northern Province, and the teachers are just thrilled to the moon and back to look at this program that is helping the kids read and write. In the same year, we celebrated Sheba moving on to Jolly Future's team. And Sheba had been very key, and we were just so glad to see her upscale and move into another sort of role. And in the same year, we were blessed to have Jordan actually join us, and he's settling in so well. He's doing so well in co-lead the education department. We also, in the year 2025, have actually seen an impact in teacher training colleges. So we've reached out to over 500 pre-service trained teachers receiving the training, so that when they go to serve, they're already equipped with the training. And it's on this point we've been thinking, goodness, the moment we're going to reach every teacher training college here in Zambia, we will have reached every child with English literacy. And we know with what we've witnessed that that is possible and that is coming. So stand with us as we continue to do that. We've also actually submitted an extended version, or rather, an extended version of a JPTG, and we're submitting that for tender. And it's just been really, really an exciting year, 2025. Like talking of staff changes in dignity, rather discipleship and mentorship, we've hired a coordinator, Chibangu Kolala, who's doing a fantastic job. And as a result of that, we are also seeing relationships getting oiled, and we're partnering with ministries, organizations, schools, and individuals to make sure that we scale up our work here in Zambia when it comes to discipleship and reaching out to young people. We are also actually, we have actually implemented the Cherish and Discipleship. Cherish is for girls and Discipleship for boys, just to ensure that they go deeper in the discipleship program. And the team is doing very well, Jody. I hope that the partners also can know there that the team is doing well. We have celebrated a marriage, and 2 boys are joining in from our key or focus staff here, and it's been a year of celebration as well in that vein. And we've also upgraded the solar system, so no more frustrations of power and load shedding here in Zambia. So it's really been a great year from where I'm standing.
There's lots to celebrate. 2 baby boys on team, but really great. And one of the fathers is behind the camera, so he's smiling, he's beaming as I say that.
Yes.
But just to say on the education,
Yeah.
if you're someone who likes numbers, so we've been training teachers for 7 years now
Yes.
in the contextualised literacy programme. And over those 7 years, having just completed Northern Province, we've trained over 10,000 teachers.
Yes.
Which over the years,
Yeah.
if we've done our maths right, approximately impacts over 1 million children.
Yes.
So it's just lots of cause for celebration.
Yeah.
And like Daniel said, the more we go into the teacher training colleges, knowing that every teacher will be trained in this in the future, and so that every child will experience the opportunity to learn to read and write in English. So lots going on this year. Internationally, moving on from kind of the South African adaptation template, we've also been working with a team in Kenya and in Ethiopia to resource them as well, which has been really exciting. And then in June, Dan and I were invited to go to Thailand to see if there was opportunity and possibility to contextualise what we have for the Burmese migrants who have fled Myanmar and are living in Thailand there. We ran a couple of test trainings and they were received really well. And so, we're excited to say that we will be continuing that work. There's about 60 migrant learning centres, schools in that region with about 14,000 migrant children learning there. So that's a real huge opportunity. And they're not receiving a lot of help from other places. And so it feels a real honour to be able to step into that place. And so it feels like there's a phrase in Zambia, and I hope I'm going to say it, but Zambia Kuchalo, which means from Zambia to the world.
Yes.
And it feels like such an excitement that something that has begun in this place, which so many people have written off, is now becoming a centre, an ascending place, and is impacting wider than Zambia. It's just incredible. And all credit to Daniel and the team here in Zambia.
It's going to just be partnership, Jodie. It's amazing what we've been able to achieve together. And I'm speechless.
And thank you to everyone who's supported us over the years in prayer and in finance. So if you're looking ahead to 2026 and what's to come, continuation of the national rollout. We're going to go to Lusaka in January, and then southern and northwestern provinces. Growth of the discipleship and mentorship program with Chibangu now on board and able to go wider with that and push that out. The team from South Africa, the Dignity campaign team, are coming up to facilitate a training to bring more people on board for that. And then internationally, we continue to do some of the other countries, but particularly working with the Burmese migrants and the team out there. So please pray over that. And we have the big give coming up in December. I would be remiss not to say that, 2nd to the 9th, where we'll be raising funds for the discipleship and mentorship program. So please watch out on Facebook and your inbox if you're part of our mailing to support us in that way. I think that's more than enough. If you want to find out more, then please get in touch. If you want to support us financially, please get in touch. But your prayers are always welcome. And thank you for listening. I hope it's been enjoyable to hear all that's been happening. We're so thankful to God for his faithfulness. And as we got to look back, it was just a real gift to kind of go over the last couple of years and go, wow, this is incredible. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your AGM.
The Beyond Ourselves story is quite remarkable because we were just running a handful of community schools in Zambia, and we introduced Jolly Phonics to improve the literacy, and the success rate of kids just went like that. And it's off the back of that now there's the potential to influence the whole of the education system right the way across Zambia, which is phenomenal. Jodie and the team are doing an amazing job. I get to meet with Daniel every month on Zoom, and he is fantastic and doing just a brilliant, brilliant job. And it's great to see him sharing the story alongside Jodie. Really, really brilliant. We're really grateful for the team of trustees that look after everything and keep us on in check online, legitimate, legal, in the black financially. And we're really, really pleased for Bernard, who chairs the trustees. There's the trustees, and So Bernard, Steve Hell, Anne Granger, Matt Green. But I'm going to hand over to Bernard.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah, it's my privilege to lead the trustees, which over the last couple of years have grown and shrunk. But I'd like to just, before I start, thank Steve, Anne, and Matt for supporting me. Also Monica and Sampi, who's special advisors to the team. They've been brilliant over the last couple of months, and specifically Sampi with reviewing the financials and Monica with strategy. That's been really helpful to us. I'm not going to start my recruitment speech now, so I'll leave that to the end, because we are consistently in need of new trustees, but we'll get there. So if we could get the first slide. So the financial position, I'm happy to report that it's been fairly stable over the last year. It's probably worth reminding you that these figures are probably about a year old because it's the previous financial year. So we've already signed off, the trustees and at least the operational team with Joe and Ian. We're already looking at 2025 figures. So these things are what we've just signed off as annual financials. You'll see there was a small decrease in our income of £20,000. And then an increase in our expenditure. So those, like Warren here, who loves his maths, will figure that there's a £25,000, £26,000 deficit. That's been funded from our reserves. Now, we've been lucky that through the last couple of years, we've been able to build our reserves. Then we could get to periods of these that we have to dip into our reserves. And after 13 years of being a trustee, I stopped worrying about it because I know that there's ebbs and flows in these things. So we need to take the years when we have more generous giving, and then those fund the years that we are slightly out of pocket. If we can hit the next slide, please, Joe. The same for Restore Community. So a smaller budget, but a reduction in our giving and an increase in our expenditure. The great thing with Restore Community is that we have vast resources and reserves, and we've taken an active decision to not necessarily spend the funds, but utilize those funds to invest them in the community and in the projects that we do. So we are reducing our reserves in order to grow our work within that, because we feel sitting on vast amounts of resources is not necessarily serving the kingdom well. Joe. You'll see that our giving over a combined period from 2020 to 2024 has been fairly consistent around the 300 to 400 mark, and we've breached that cumulatively. What's quite interesting is just to see that even across the year, it's quite stable. Now, for us as a body that need to manage and run our finances, it's quite tricky to make sure that we have the right level of reserves. We also try and be sensible with our reserves, so we invest money with Kingdom Bank. And sometimes Joe would call me up and say, listen, we're running low on cash reserves, we need to draw into our Kingdom Bank. And then a couple of months later, as long as we top those back up, which one of the next slides, you'll see how we run our reserves. Again, the combined donors over the last couple of years have been fairly consistent, and we're pleased to say that we've not seen any decreases in the amount of givers over the year. So the reserves is something that we've had a lot of conversations over the last year, specifically as trustees. If you've made the calculations, we need about £36,000 a month to run our teams and our congregation across all congregations. And we aspire to have 2 months' worth of running costs always in our reserves. More than that, we feel like we have money in the bank that's not utilized to grow the kingdom. And less than that, we start getting uneasy about us being able to run our cash flow and not necessarily being sensible about how we run the finances. So those have been decreasing and being topped up, but I'm glad to say that we maintain a level around the £60,000, which is just shy of 2 months' worth of running cost. With the organization growing, Steve, guys, we probably need to start topping that up a little bit to get to that comfortable 2-month thing. But again, that's not something we're going to just do lightly. We will gradually build those reserves slightly up to accommodate the fact that we're a larger organization with a slightly bigger spread. And then the more relevant figures is how things have been going for 2025. And you will see that cumulatively we've exceeded our budget. But it's also taking into account that we have giving days and other things to top that up. I want to use this opportunity to thank the congregation and everyone for giving. It's not something that we take for granted, and we know that everyone needs to invest, and investing in the vision that we're carrying. Now, the exciting part about finances, having seen all the presentations from both 5 congregations and from Beyond Ourselves, the thing that really excites me is that as a trustee body and as a leadership body with the elders, we actually facilitate these things to happen. So the boring numbers is nothing if we can't spend that money on growing the kingdom and growing God's work. And yeah, I feel proud with my fellow trustees to be able to facilitate that. And just to make sure that we cover all the governance. There's a lot of work behind the scenes in signing off policies and all kinds of documentation that need to be done in order to let the likes of Ian and the team loose to do what they do best. Yeah, and then my recruitment speech is, guys, I really want to encourage everyone to come and join us. It might sound boring, it's quite challenging, it's quite interesting as well. We are the legal employers of all the staff and the team. We are the guys that need to make sure that governance are compliant, that we submit all our accounts on time, that it's signed off, that it's voted on, that all these things happen. And we'd love to see the young generation coming through. I'd love to see 20, 30-year-olds coming into the ranks and join us and learn from us and take over the reins in time to come. So that's that.
So again, email questions@restorecc.org.uk. When can I start? We will help you. There's always some technical things that we need to do as a part of the AGM, or maybe some formal things. This year, the only things that we needed to vote on was the acceptance of the accounts for 2024 for Restore Community and Restore Community Church. Thank you to everyone who voted online. We did an online vote over the last few weeks. Thank you to everyone who voted. Out of the people who voted, both sets of accounts were unanimously accepted, for which we're very grateful. So that's the formal bit of the AGM, I think, done. We have a team of elders that oversee the vision of Restore and lead Restore as a whole. That's the team of elders, Jodie Collins, Monica Needs, Brenton Waite, Vayner Norden. They've done a great job over the last year and are amazing people. We're looking forward to the next year and what God opens up over the next year. We're not making any changes to the elders at this point. We would love to grow it in number as we go. At the moment, though, we feel like we're good where we are, and we feel like we're getting to grips maybe with what's happening over Restore and what next steps might look like. Just one thing to throw into the mix on that. I mentioned earlier that I've been doing some more stuff with Exponential. In reality, I've been spending a reasonable amount of my time on Exponential stuff. Exponential Europe have now decided that they would like to recompense what I'm doing for them. And so from January, they're going to start picking up 2 days of my salary. And they're going to give that funds into Restore. That's great because, one, it acknowledges the work that I am doing for them, but two, it also means that we can use that money to continue to invest in Restore and to continue to invest in terms of growing us strong. And one of the things we are aware of as an eldership team and also as a trustee team is that I'm not getting any younger. And the reality is I will not be the leader of Restore forever. And having worked around churches for a number of decades now, transitions, if they're going to be done well, need a planning process around them. And actually the Exponential offer to start paying for some of my time has kind of precipitated a number of conversations about how would we manage, or how should we start managing a process for transition. The reality is, I know I don't look it, but I'm 61. And so I know, it's shocking, isn't it? And I think transition processes often don't start early enough. And by a transition process, I do not mean I'm about to disappear or retire or go anywhere. I just mean a process and a structure around it needs setting up early, because then we can manage a process going forward. Because the reality is, you never know what's just around the corner. You never know. And so because of that, we decided that we would be wise to set up a transition team. And so we've set up a team, which is on the slide coming up right now. It's behind me, but not in front of me. And so Steve Hale is chairing that, and we've got a team composed of Steve and Bernard from the trustees, Jodie and Monica from the elders, together with Joe Mackey from our ops, working with me around scoping what a process of transition might look like. I will re-emphasise, I am not expecting to go anywhere in the near term. I will say that again. I am not expecting to go anywhere in the near term, but it would be sensible to start scoping a plan around it. And even with the exponential work, one of the questions I had is, I shouldn't be making the decisions about what I do with my time or how many hours I can potentially invest in other organisations. I need some accountability in that into Restore. And so we thought actually what would really help us on that would be to set up a transition team to manage that process. And so the idea of exponential paying for 2 days of my salary next year has been agreed by that team. So it's not a decision I've unilaterally made, but it will precipitate a number of other conversations that are all about how we build strong for the long term. Because my hope, prayer, desire is Restore will last way, way, way beyond me. Because we're building something that is going to last for eternity. And I think the best days of Restore are still ahead of it. But we want to build wisely and strongly into the future. So we thought it would be good to share that tonight. We're nearly at the end. We're at the end of the information. We're about to go into the questions. If you still have a question, then you can email questions@restorecc.org.uk. We already have had a couple of questions come in. So I'm going to answer those, but I'm also going to get my phone because Jo said she'd message me any other questions on my phone. So a couple of questions. One is from Brenton Waite. Some questions about the Restore Community Church donations on page 7 of the accounts. You see, some people have studied the accounts. And Brenton asked what the Magnify Foundation is and if it's a restricted fund. And the Magnify Foundation was a 3-year funding that we received to support Jew's salary at Albany. And the funding was used up in July 2025. So we've just run out of that and we're looking at funding options going forward. There was also a New Thing donation that was registered on page 7 as well. That was the last payment towards Tobias's salary because Tobias was part employed by New Thing and that was paid into Restore. What was the Albany Church donation towards? And that was when we took over Albany Church, where Albany Church became a Restore congregation. They were running a CIO that had their funds in it. And we agreed with them a 3-year process whereby they would give that money over in 3 lots, so over a period of 3 years, into the Restore accounts. And that was the last of the 3-year payments from the old Albany CIO into Restore accounts. Hope you're impressed that I'm managing to answer these. Are any of these donations budgeted into the coming year? No, they're all the end of any donations. And we had a question from Jill Harriman as well, who also studied the accounts, I'm pleased to say. She was asking what the large increase in governance costs were due to, because there was a big jump in 2024 compared to 2023. That was because our accountant reallocated where our bookkeeping costs were. In the previous year, they were down in support costs, and they put them over into governance costs. And so it was simply shifting over the bookkeeper's costs. Now, questions. Are there any questions? There's no questions from online. Any questions in the room? No, not even from Warren. Praise God. If you do have questions, we want to have a culture that is incredibly open, and we're always willing to take any question and to answer it. And so if you have any concerns, any thoughts, any questions, email questions@restorecc.org.uk, we will get back to you, or email elders@restorecc.org.uk and we'll get back to you as well. I'm going to pray. Thank you so much for joining with us tonight. And it's gone a bit longer than we anticipated, but like I say, it's really because we've got so much good news, we can't possibly squeeze it into the time. But we do appreciate you joining with us and everything that you do to contribute to the life of Restore, because at the end of the day, the Restore is us. And it's what we bring to the table. And we're so grateful for everyone God has given us. Lord, I want to thank you for tonight, Lord. And I thank you for the opportunity just to be able to celebrate all of the ways that we've seen you at work, Lord. And it does feel a privilege, Lord, to be in a season, Lord, that we're seeing so much fruit being born and so much increase. And Lord, we just want to take a moment to say thank you to you, because you are the head of this church. And Lord, everything that we do, we want it to point to you and your glory. Lord, it's not about us, it's about you. And it's about celebrating you and celebrating the work of your kingdom. And Lord, we pray your blessing over us as a church family. We pray your protection over us as a church family. And we pray that over this next year, Lord, we will see more people come to know you and more impact into the life of this city and this nation and the nations beyond than ever before. In Jesus' wonderful name. Amen. I'm going to declare tonight's annual general meeting officially closed.